All around the world, there are strange reports of man-like canine beasts. They go by many names: shapeshifters, beasts, dogmen, and Manwolf. On July 9th, 2021, the YouTube channel Hellbent Holler, starring the paranormal investigators Joe and Jesse, uploaded a video entitled, "Did We See a Dog Man?" In this first edition of a two-part investigation, the pair took two strange photographs during the night on a temperature-sensitive FLIR camera.
Hellbent Holler is a paranormal investigation YouTube channel which has this major focus on Sasquatch and Dogman phenomenon specifically. The video in question that really pertains to this particular image was uploaded by Hellbent Holler on the 9th of July in 2021. And it was part one of two in a series of videos covering an investigation that they conducted in the Land Between the Lakes region over in Kentucky. Now, for people who are already familiar with the Dogman phenomenon, that name already carries some meaning, but for those who are unaware, the Land Between the Lakes is kind of this crux in the Dogman phenomenon, in the sense that there are more than probably any other region in the world rumors that circulate about Manwolf and Dogman sightings in this area of the state, and a lot of them have become very famous talking points in the Dogman community. So it seems only natural really to kind of bring an investigation into this area, like many people have done. Hellbent Holler is kind of interesting though, because Jesse and Joe, who run Hellbent Holler, have probably done the most thorough on-the-ground research in terms of trying to find the locations that some of these incidents have supposedly taken place at, looking into the history of the area and using that to kind of coordinate and calculate where certain events may have been likely to have taken place. In part one of this particular video series that they've done, there are a few interesting things that happen, but one of the most interesting things actually happens at the end, when Joe is able to capture an image on his thermal camera, which shows a sort of strange-looking shape that Joe purports was moving as he was looking at it.
3/4 full to dead within the space of like 5 seconds.
Okay.
I don't know how that happened. Okay, camera.
It's recording.
That's fine, keep it running. I don't hit us on anything. Oh, my adrenaline's gone. Oh.
Might be going down into a hole here.
Yeah, you might be. Alright, we gotta review that footage. My battery just like drained. My battery just went from like almost full to, now there's a deer over here who was like freaking just motionless. I got him with the light, he didn't even run, he was like hunkered down. He looked scared. Might have been scared about me, but I don't know. But we got something where you heard that breaking through the brush really heavy.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, I keep hearing it.
Upon review, we find most of our thermal footage inconclusive. However, we did manage to capture two thermal images we find very compelling. Keep in mind we are using a Pulsar Axion XQ38 set to black hot. We came to the LBL in search of large wolf-like cryptids. Did we find them?
The image that we have itself is, again, taken on a thermal camera, and so that brings a lot that needs to be recognized to the table pretty immediately. First off, that this is of course not a color shot and it's taken at night. So details, while still pretty good, are not anywhere near as good as a real visual camera would be. And at the same time, we also have the fact that these are still images and not part of a video, meaning that the movement that Joe reported he was seeing, unfortunately, is not captured accurately on these photos. Unfortunately, we seem like we're at a point where we kind of need to take that as it is. That isn't to say, though, that there's not some interesting analysis that can be brought forward here. The first thing that pretty much anyone will notice about this is that the color of this subject is much different than the color of its environment. And that is pretty common in situations with a thermal camera where there is a level of heat being assigned to a particular object. The way that a thermal camera works is it actually takes in heat signatures and converts them into the light spectrum that those heat waves coincide with. And sometimes that can be in color. There are many different modes that a thermal camera can have that show off different kinds of colors assigned to these subjects. But again, one of the commonalities is that they will differ wildly on temperature. And you can have these dark heat signatures. It's just another way of the camera expressing that the heat signature of that object is much different than the environment around it. Now, there are some areas of the environment around this subject that do have somewhat similar color palettes to them. But overall, the subject really stands out, which leads us to one of a few different conclusions. It's possible, just at a face level analysis, that this is an extremely cold object, maybe some kind of weird stone formation. It is a July night, so it would make sense for it to be kind of warm temperatures. However, we do have to take into account that Joe believes that this object moved when he was looking at it. If that's the case, then we probably are looking at something that's giving off its own organic heat. And if it's giving off its own heat, that likely means that it's a living thing, of course accompanied with the report of it moving. If it is a living thing, what exactly is it? We know that there probably are enough wild canines in the region for this to be explained like that, but the overall shape is kind of strange. The view that this is a wild canine, whether that's a manwolf or a regular canine of any kind, does kind of point us in the direction of thinking of this as kind of the top set of the head with these very large ears perking up, and maybe the face is kind of angled facing towards Joe's camera. Unfortunately, without sort of a clearer cut look at the movement, it's really hard to tell if that's the case. It's difficult to ascertain details from the DOYLE image. So what we have to work with is kind of what's been presented to us. We do know that Hellbent Holler, of course being a paranormal investigation channel, has paranormal leanings, but at the same time, people who have worked with Hellbent Holler generally do tend to have a rather positive view of them.
Jesse and Joe Doyle of Hellbent Holler are two of the most pragmatic and authentic researchers I have ever encountered in the time that I've been in the paranormal field. And that's both as a spectator, watching documentaries and reading books, and as an interviewer and an author. They are incredibly objective in their approach to strange phenomena, and they have spent probably countless hours in the field researching strange sightings and paranormal activity. I recently had the opportunity to actually go into the field with them during my visit to the Land Between the Lakes, and while I'm jumping at every little twig that snaps or leaf that rustles in the underbrush, they're methodically scanning, looking at the perimeter, looking at the horizon with flashlights, binoculars, thermal scopes. Oh, there's a squirrel. Oh, looks like we've got a bird over here. And to have spent that much time in the field and to be this deeply immersed in this work, as deeply immersed as they are, and to still be able to remain 100% objective is something that is not only valuable, it's exceedingly rare.
Being a situation where we have to take some kind of possibility of hoaxing or misidentification into accountability, unfortunately, with a lot of the ends, including those two, we just don't have anything to really kind of lead us down one route or the other for deciding what is in this image. At the end of the day, we have what appears to be very likely a heat signature of an organic object that this person is saying that they saw move. And it looks rather large, although it's hard to really get any kind of size comparison. And we just don't exactly know what it is that we're looking at here, which in the end is kind of what makes the DOYLE image quite interesting.